dawning of a new day at Manchester City Football Club. They start their Premier League season, and today, even though they did play the Community Shield last week, today officially begins day one of Life AP. After Pep Guardiola for a decade brought an unparalleled amount of success to Manchester City. Numerous Premier League titles, a Champions League, FA Cups, and League Cups. Now, Enzo Maresca comes in. He is ready to try and uphold that standard. Today, the Italian opens up his Manchester City run with a match against Bournemouth, one of last season's surprise packages in the Premier League. It's City and Bournemouth as the Premier League's opening weekend marches on. Hello again, everybody. I am Seth Eaves. Thank you so much for being with us. We even saved you the best seat in the house. Pep Guardiola's run, it was quite amazing. 6 Premier League titles at Manchester City, 3 FA Cups, 5 League Cups, and a Champions League. He decided at the end of the season that he would leave Manchester City. What he'll do next, who knows? Not in management at the present time. So City got the former Chelsea manager Enzo Maresca to try and bring the club into a new light, but it has not gotten off to the best start. After all, they were hammered in the Community Shield by Arsenal last week. But as we all know, the Community Shield isn't exactly a complete barometer and completely indicative of how a Premier League season will go. Meanwhile, Bournemouth, as mentioned, were one of the surprise packages, ending up finishing in the Europa League places last season. The Cherries could be in some trouble this year, if for any other reason, because they have to deal with the newfound stress of playing extra matches. Well, here is the City news. Gianluigi Donnarumma starts in goal. The big story today, it's the 200th City appearance for their striker, Erling Haaland. He'll wear the number 9 shirt. The rest of the team in numerical order: 3, Ruben Diaz. Elliot Anderson makes his competitive debut after his summer signing from Nottingham Forest. Mark Gahey wears number 6. Number 24, Joseph Gvardiol. 33, Nico O'Reilly. 42, Antoine Semenyo, who starts against his old club. The Uzbekistani defender, Abubakar Kushanov. And also getting a start, Phil Foden, as well as Rico Lewis. Bournemouth have Dorde Petrovic in goal. 3, Adrian Tuffert. 4, veteran Lewis Cook. 5, James Hill. 8, Alex Scott. 9, Evan Nielsen. Antonio Silva wears number 14. Number 15 is Adam Smith. 16, Marcus Tavernier. 19, Justin Kluivert. And 37, Ryan. Again, so much is new with both of these teams. Of course, Bournemouth, in addition to losing big name players, they also, as they're doing a moment of silence, to honor Kevin Keegan. So we'll pause for a split second for that. It's actually a moment's applause for Kevin Keegan. So a minute. Of course, who died, I believe it was like a day after the World Cup finals when he passed away. But of course, the other big story of Bournemouth, they're under new manager as well, Adani Iraola, who did so many great things with this club last season. He's now at Liverpool, and in comes Marco Rose, the 49-year-old from Leipzig. Is where he was born. He's managed Lokomotiv Leipzig, RB Salzburg, Borussia Mönchengladbach, Borussia Dortmund, and RB Leipzig. So he's got a pretty impressive CV on him. He's won the Austrian League twice. He won a UEFA Youth League when he was managing RB Salzburg's youth team in the 2016-17 season. Former Leicester City player Pat Sendaka among those in that squad that beat Benfica in the final of that competition back in the spring of 2017. He also has a German Cup title to his name with Leipzig. Now he tries his hand at English football. Bournemouth in their black and red shirts, and it's they who get us underway, going from right to left as you follow along. City will go the opposite end in their familiar sky blue or light blue, depending on how you want to call it, whatever you want to call it. Here's a first touch for Holland. Gets it to Phil Foden on the right-hand side. Now Foden cuts to his left. City trying to make the move. Lewis passes it back. City, of course, making the moves in the offseason. The big signing was Anderson, £116 million. Was the signing at City. That was the amount City paid Nottingham Forest. Also made some signings for depth more than anything else. Pierce Charles, Jeremy Monga for $10 million, $1.7 million for Geronimo Rulli, a reserve goalkeeper from Marseille. Jared Gillett's our referee today. One other thing to keep in mind about the City one, though, is that they could be working on some other deals. Ayeb Bouadi could be on his way from Lille. That looks to have gone through about a few minutes before kickoff. 19th time these two teams have betted the Premier League era in the league. City have won 16 of them. Bournemouth with 1 win and 1 draw. It is, we said, the dawning of a new day. There are plenty of big names. That have left the club. We mentioned yesterday, Bernardo Silva no longer at the club. He's now at Real Madrid. City pass it through. Here's Ake from the back. Ake from the back. Nathan Ake now at Fenerbahce. Manuel Akanji left for Inter. Rodri's now at Barcelona. And just a couple of days ago, Savinho left for $85 million to Tottenham. Here's Holland. Trying to pass it through. They might have a chance. O'Reilly's in, but he did push a Bournemouth player from behind, so a foul against O'Reilly. John Stones also on his way out the door to Inter Milan. He only played 3 matches in preseason. Perhaps a lot of that had to do with the fact that most of their players participated in deep runs to the World Cup. They drew with it was in Asia. It was an Asian tour. They drew with Inter Milan. They beat the Korean League All-Stars in Atletico Madrid for that 3-0 loss. All Bournemouth. Again, 3 new signings, only 3 new permanent signings, only 1 in. That's Silva. $25.7 million was the price they paid Benfica to get his services. And now on the run, here comes City. Holland running at breakneck speed. Foden, that's a clever back heel. It's O'Reilly and Petrovic. Had to be up on it. It's a save. It's City have a corner. First real chance of the game, and it falls to Rico Lewis. City have the corner kick. Referee's coming over just to make sure that everything is okay. Here is Phil Foden with the City corner. Foden lofts one in. Free header back post. Hits the roof of the net from O'Reilly. did make two other signings the summer, both from Spanish football. Uruguayan forward Alvaro Rodriguez, $25.7 million the fee to Elche, and they also signed right back Juanlu Sanchez from Sevilla for £11.2 million. Notable players that left include Marco Senesi, who's now at Tottenham, Traore, who's now at Marseille. A 5-match preseason for the Cherries. They beat St. Pauli, Augsburg, and Genoa, while drawing with Real Betis and losing to Mainz. Here is Bournemouth with a throw-in. It's a very long throw-in. It could be trouble. Donnarumma had to punch it. Here's City on the run on the left-hand side. He trying to run. Pulled back. That's going to be a foul. Manchester City wasn't completely without. It was a disappointing season by their standards, but wasn't completely without silverware. They did win both of the domestic cups in England. Won the FA Cup. Among the highlights in that competition, they put 10 past Exeter in the third round. They also beat Salford, Newcastle, Liverpool, Southampton, and Chelsea to win that cup, beating the Blues 1-0 in the final. Antoine Semenyo getting the winner there. The League Cup, they beat Huddersfield, Swansea, Brentford, and Newcastle before disposing of Arsenal 2-0 in the final. O'Reilly scored both 2 goals in a 4-minute span past the hour. Here's City's free kick. And it's Smith that deals with it for Bournemouth. City now working to pass through. Brighton, by the way, are now already up on Aston Villa. That's an interesting one. Brighton, who did not play very well in their Conference League playoff in midweek. Meanwhile, Bournemouth unbeaten in their final 18 Premier League matches last season. 8 wins and 10 draws. More on their quick review in a second. But in the bread and butter in the league, City fell well short. They did finish second, but 7 points. They finished behind Arsenal. A lot of points they dropped in places you wouldn't expect them to drop. Last season's matches, City won here 3-1 in the first league match in November. Then penultimate game of the season, a 1-1 draw on the South Coast. Here's a City cross over Holland. Foden with a half volley. Now here's Ruben Dias. They did suffer another loss to Real Madrid, who's kind of been scourge of them in the Champions League over the last half-decade or so. Spanish side knocked them out 5-1 on aggregate in the round of 16. They're finishing 8th in the league phase, beating Napoli, Villarreal, Borussia Dortmund, Real Madrid in that phase, and Galatasaray, losing to Bayer Leverkusen and Bodo Glimt while drawing with Monaco. Bournemouth and City will both get to find out who they play in Europe coming up in the end of the week. The draw will be made for all 3 of the European league phases once the playoffs are finished. It's a very poor pass there, and Evan Nielsen has it for Bournemouth, and he's got a chance to break. Here's Evan Nielsen, and City able to cover spaces defensively. What a great year it was for Bournemouth last season. 6th place was what they finished in the league. 57 points was the total. 18 draws, 13 wins, 7 defeats. As it turned out, they just missed the Champions League place by 3 points. It was quite a special season for them. Did the double over Tottenham, which granted Tottenham did struggle last year, but still, that's for Club Bournemouth's stature, that's pretty impressive. They beat Liverpool. They also won at Arsenal late in the season, too. Did not do much in the Cups, though, beating at the first hurdle each attempt. Lost to Newcastle in the FA Cup on penalties, and then Brentford in the League Cup in the second round. But it was a big, big year. But now a new season and a new way to look at things. City now with possession. Trying to string it from the back. Here comes Manchester City working through. Get it back. Manchester City have 85% possession, so in some ways it's probably like Pep never left. Here is Truffert. Adrian Truffert. Now to Antonio Silva, the aforementioned new players of the Bournemouth puzzle. Hill. Now Tavernier. Now it's Silva who will pass it back. Bournemouth have done a good job soaking up the pressure so far. City again just kind of sitting and waiting. It's very Pep-esque. They're just trying to keep possession. They're just waiting for that right moment to make the proper move towards goal. Now a long ball left hand side, trying to free Semenyo. It's headed away. Back to Hill it goes. Perfect. Here's Tavernier now over to Scott. Scott plays a long ball to the right-hand side. Ryan with it. Ryan lays it off right-hand side. It's a long cross, and it's an easy catch in the end for Donnarumma. And glad to have you with us. 13th minute Premier League action between Manchester City and Bournemouth. Here is Nico Riley. Riley now running left-hand side near the penalty area. O'Reilly lifts one in. Here's Holland, and Holland has mishit it. Boy, that's a collector's item. Holland missing like that. Anderson, who now wears the number 5 after years of John Stones occupying that number. Foden. Inside now gets it back to Kushanov. Foden playing it back, and City will retreat, if only briefly. Now Kushanov. Riley gets pulled down, and that's going to be a foul. Of course, more live soccer action coming for you today. Newcastle, Liverpool follows us. Tomorrow, Chelsea and Fulham. And then at halftime, or right before the start of the second half, depending on how quick I get it put into the dock. If you're listening, this is something I want to pay attention to, but we'll tell you the announcement of other matches that are coming this week. It's Bournemouth break free. And Ryan with a shot. Donnarumma had to react to it. He makes the save. Bournemouth have a corner. But just to finish up matches for this week, and I'm having matches this week from the UEFA Champions League as well as the Carabao Cup, and the Dutch Eredivisie. Give you that schedule coming out either at halftime or early in the second. Again, depends on how long I get it put in the dock. We have Alex Scott to take this Bournemouth corner. Scott. Way, Bournemouth bring it back. Here's another long ball. Could Silva get to it? Silva tried to head it towards the mixer in the area, but it wasn't there. Brighton have now doubled their lead against Aston Villa. Well, who exactly saw that one coming? Of course, Villa have already been busy. They played in the Super Cup we had for you against PSG. This comes after a goalless draw in Norway on Thursday against Tromsø in the Conference League playoffs. Brighton, of course, trying to carry the mantle. English clubs have been doing quite well in that competition since it was formed back in the 2021-22 season. West Ham won it, of course, in 2023. Chelsea won it 2 seasons ago, and then Crystal Palace won it last season. Foden. Well, you know, if Brighton can't beat Tromsø, can't get past Tromsø, they'll never hear the end of it. You would expect them to beat the Norwegian side at home in the second leg, but well, it's a funny way of working sometimes. Meanwhile, back to the task at hand here. Still goalless at the 17th minute. Here's Gahey. Now back to Phil Foden. Anderson. Diaz now passing it back to Semenyo. Now Diaz. Diaz now Foden. Foden on the right-hand side. Now hits the accelerator. Blocked by Truffert. And he takes... He's a little worse for the wear for after he blocked it. It's going to be out for a City corner, but... Both players took a knock there, but it's Adrian Truffert, the 24-year-old who was actually born in Liège, Belgium. Suddenly moved to Southampton, England, when he was just 6 months old. His father was a laboratory director, but the family returned to Belgium and immigrated to France 6 months after that. As for Truffert's playing career, signed for Bournemouth in 2025 from Rennes. He was a really rock-solid defender last season, part of a French under-23 team that took silver medal, the silver medal at the 2024 Paris Games. Foden's corner, punched away by Petrovic, and foul there. Riley hit the deck, and Lewis and Clivert both having a little bit of a coming together there. Well, 18 minutes in, and golly gee, I wonder who the happier the two managers would be after 18 minutes. With this scoreline you see on your screen, doesn't take a real rocket scientist to figure that one out. Again, if you like what you're seeing, more importantly what you're hearing, we do encourage you to like and subscribe and smash that notification bell so you'll be notified when we go on the air for Ultimate Sports Media broadcasts. Here's Gahey. Foden. Now Kushanov, City now playing back inside their own half. Of course, Manchester City are in another unfamiliar position. Even in years where they didn't win the title, which again, Very rare, as it turned out. Semenyo with a chance to get over it in the Pep era. They always seem to be the overwhelming favorites when we got to this point of the year. When we got to August, to the start of the season, they were everybody's overwhelming favorite to win the league title, regardless of how they did the previous year. That's not the case this year. First time in a long time. I would probably say for the first time since maybe Manuel Pellegrini was in charge. Manchester City aren't the overwhelming favorite. In fact, I'm not sure if I've seen anyone pick them to win the title. Everybody has gone with Arsenal. Well, one person picked Chelsea, but that person might need to be drug tested. All for Holland. Trufert's out there. He knows who he is. We'll have the Blues tomorrow night as they make the very, very short trek to Fulham to play at Craven Cottage. West London Derby to conclude the opening weekend of the season. Bournemouth have a player down here. It's Rayan who's down. The 20-year-old Brazilian. Previously played for Vasco da Gama, signed for Bournemouth back in January. Made a couple of appearances at the World Cup this past summer. He became the first teenager to start for Brazil in a World Cup match since Marco Antonio in 1970 when he started the 3-0 win against Scotland the 24th of June. He was the Brazilian Cup's top goal scorer in 2025 with 5 goals. He didn't have to do that much color changing. Black and white instead of black. There's a hint of red in the crest of the old Brazilian club. There's Tavernier now for Bournemouth. Now Truffert with it on the left-hand side. Now here is James Hill. Silva. Bournemouth was on fire last season, James. Inside joke Grand Prix. It's a good segue. Auto racing today. JBM's got IndyCar covered, of course. A big event at Washington, D.C. Hold that thought. Bournemouth coming through on the right-hand side. Pass in. City get in the way. Of course, we've got NASCAR 2 p.m. Eastern Time. Hope you'll be with us for our coverage of NASCAR Cup Series racing from Loudon, New Hampshire. And they've moved the start time of that up an hour. It's a possible bad weather penultimate race of the regular season. Chase gets cranked up. Here, the chase for the Premier League title. Starting here in the 24th minute. Petrovic. Put it through. Here is Gahey. Now Gahey for City. Gahey has some room to run. Now Semenyo. Semenyo tumbles. Out of play. City fans behind the goal there wanted a penalty. I don't believe they're going to get it. And I'm not even sure if they're going to get a corner out of the deal. Owen claims it was a tug. The referee's pointing at something. He doesn't get the ball there, but that's I mean, okay, Ryan could have gotten himself in better position, but in that particular moment, there's not that much more he can do. So I think the referee was right to let that go, and indeed is the case. Earlier, we reported to you City were at 85% possession. They're absolutely slacking now. They're down to 69% possession. 25th, about to be 26th minute. Still, we search for the opening goal here between Manchester City and Bournemouth, Premier League. Here on Ultimate Sports Media, our big Premier League weekend continuing. Seth Eaves with you here. Started on Friday with the champions Arsenal against newly promoted Coventry. Yesterday had Brentford against Tottenham. 2 matches today. Then 1 more tomorrow. Here's Bournemouth with space. Oh, it's a really good pass. Here's a chance at a goal! And against the run of play. Believe this. It's Tavernier has given the Cherries the lead at the Etihad. It is a smash and grab for Rose's men. And Maresca now has to go back to the drawing board. Some good passing from Bournemouth. And now is that foot offside? Maybe? Maybe? Ryan does very well. And then Evan Nielsen with a good ball. And then Tavernier gets it past Donnarumma, who is just a little bit out of position, maybe. But take nothing away from the finish of Marcus Tavernier. 8 goals in all competitions for Bournemouth a season ago. And he's got his first goal of this campaign. Now City really had to up the ante here. Brighton are now 3 up against Villa. Goodness me. Here's Semenyo. Clivert had it briefly, then Semenyo won it back. Semenyo, can he keep it in? No, he can't. Now Semenyo having some words with perhaps a former teammate. E7, about to be 28 minutes gone. Also, welcome. Appreciate you. We'd like to, we welcome your comments in the chat section as well. Failed to mention that when doing the promotion thing. Now it's 4-0 Brighton. What on earth is going on there? Wow. Here is Foden. City now over to Gahey. Again, if you're watching, you're just joining us, that score you see is not a misprint. Marcus Tavernier, just moments ago, has fired Bournemouth into a 1-0 lead at Eastlands. In the sunshine, Evan Nielsen. A bit of a coming together with Elliot Anderson. Now here is Ruben Diaz. Lofts one to the left-hand side. Lewis. Now Tavernier. Tavernier. Oh, dispossessed by Lewis. Now City in the attacking area, in the penalty area. Spania was trying to get it. Turn for a shot. Couldn't do it. And the foul as Bournemouth were trying to break. Anderson committing the foul on Scott. Half an hour gone. It is Manchester City 0 and Bournemouth 1. City now back in the attacking half. Long ball on the left-hand side. Here is Semenyo. Semenyo. Now it's Gahey. Gahey back to Kushinov. Will chip in. Foden. Good touch. Trying to cut in. Foden. Ooh. Diaz, now Anderson. City back in the attacking half. Lewis. Foden. Foden spinning. And Evanilson. Scott. It's a long ball he played in. One had a man bearing down, but City had a man back there defending too. Now, City run. Here's Anderson. Anderson now back to Foden. Diaz. Gahey. Semenyo. Now Semenyo with it. City with possession now. Anderson just gets it back into the attacking half. Now right-hand side, it's Foden. On ball, can he pick out Holland? Not quite. Cleared only as far as Lewis briefly. Good defensive interception by Anderson. Now Lewis. Lewis trying to play it in. Good enough. Bournemouth very organized. Foden. Here's Holland. And his shot blocked. And Holland, who of course became quite the sensation in the United States during the World Cup. Is Tavernier. And picked off by Kushinov. Lewis. Foden. Anderson. Whistle stops play. I believe it's going to be a foul. It's going to be a free kick well outside of shooting range, but it is in the attacking half for Manchester City. Short now to Diaz. Now, Foden, right-hand side. Hitting the accelerator. Drew it a little bit too far, and it's going to go out of play. Enzo Maresca. Swig of water. Of course, Maresca is no stranger to the Manchester City club in general. He was an assistant on Pep Guardiola's staff once upon a time before taking the managerial reins first at Leicester and then at Chelsea, which had things going pretty well. Then got the sack from Chelsea, but as it turns out, there was some more to that. Perhaps the reason why is because rumors were spreading around that he was in talks with City about a post-Pep plan. When Pep left, it did not take long. It took a little long for it to be formally announced, but it didn't take long for it to be unofficially official. Tavernier now back to Sky. Sky. Truffert, can he keep it in? No. Into the final 10 minutes of this first half. And still 1-0 the lead. This Premier League collision on the opening day. Opening weekend of the season. We got a northern collision coming up. Northwest versus Northeast. Liverpool, Newcastle. The Scouse accent versus the Geordie accent. Choose your fighter. Semenyo. Who's playing it in? Foden! And he couldn't quite possess it. He chased it though. Foden has it back. Here's Lewis lifting it in. Again, Bournemouth just making things very uneasy for City. Now here is Anderson for City. And a foul, and I believe Evan Nielsen takes the tumble this time. Now Holland wins it in the attacking half for City. Semenyo. He now gives it to Semenyo for the 1-2. Minute now, here's Kushinov. Diaz. Chip here. Truffert clears it away. Foden. Couldn't keep it in, and possession will be with Bournemouth. Again, there won't be much of a halftime. Maybe at the start of the second half, we'll tell you the matches that we've added to the dock for this week. And then we'll get you caught up on what else happened in the Premier League at the start of the second half. So, risky back pass to Petrovic. Holland was chasing. It's always dangerous. Đorđe Petrovic, 26-year-old Serbian international. Former Chelsea goalkeepers. Also played for the New England Revolution and Strasbourg. Here is Gahey. Gahey lifting it in towards Holland. A good reflex save of the former MLS All-Star. Petrovic. Making the save. Well, there's the first meaningful touch of any kind, head or foot, from Erling Haaland. Here's Foden. And Bournemouth deal with the danger on the corner. Now, here's Kluivert. Bournemouth running it again. Now a shot from distance, and it wasn't too far away. That would have been a spectacular second for Bournemouth had they converted that. Couldn't quite curve it. It was Tavernier who had the shot. Foden now, long ball being played here. Lewis with a slip. Bournemouth back in possession. Now Bournemouth are in again. Kluivert and Donnarumma having to make the save, and Bournemouth asking a few more questions here now. Silva. But Manchester City, really what's happened there. What has happened here within, they have kind of fallen a little bit asleep at the wheel. Now here is Evan Nielsen, who lost out. City with 68% possession, yet are down 1-0. It's almost like that can be an overrated statistic. Here's Foden. Semenyo dancing. Hill got in the way. Now it's Anderson. City now have it back in possession. Here is Kushinov. Foden. Anderson lofting it in. Riley was in there, but nothing really happened. Back to Semenyo it goes. Gahey. Lofting one. And Truffert heads it behind for a corner. And City come up with something from this corner. Here is Foden's delivery. He's about ready to take it. You know who they're going to be, who's going to be aiming it for, who's trying to aim it for. Went over Holland though. Back it goes. Played back in Holland, and found the build up against the home team. So some of the so-called bigger teams of the Premier League have been getting off to auspicious beginnings. Of course, Manchester United, that was probably the biggest surprise. A whole squad that not many people think highly of. A team that really was not really one of the better teams in the championship statistically, yet finished top 6 and won promotion via the playoffs, but they sprung a surprise on the Red Devils yesterday. Of course, here on this network, it was Tottenham losing the first game of the Roberto De Zerbi era against Brentford. We'll see how Liverpool get on with Areola later on. We'll see how Chelsea get on with Xabi Alonso. But really, Arsenal, it's looked convincing. And now, a challenge, a Bournemouth player down, and now coming together. It looks like cooler heads are gonna finally prevail, but that was a messy situation. Referee now telling people to get back, and let me sort out stuff and let me do my job. See now, 1 minute of stoppage time. That's all that will be added at the end of this first half. Gahey takes a bit of a tumble, and Guardiola. The shove to the face of Evan Nielsen. And Evan Nielsen gets the yellow card. I guess for the reaction. They always get the guy who reacts. You're supposed to get hit in the face like a champ, I guess. You might get a little bit extra more than to do have a chance maybe to get this attack in. Lewis. Bournemouth do a good job of getting it away. The stoppage time was just beginning when the foul occurred. Long ball and easy grab for Petrovic, and that probably will be the final serious involvement of this first half. Or will it? The referee still hasn't blown his whistle yet. We've had nearly 2 minutes. Gahey, O'Reilly, Semenyo. Here's some of the high cross. Holland heads it down. And then looked like Lewis got yanked down in the area. He's still down. No foul, says the referee. And now a foul on City, and Lewis is just beside himself at that call. And that is going to take us to halftime. And the Cherries have sprung a first-half surprise on Maresca's debut. Marcus Tavernier on a counter-attacking goal has the lone goal so far. Halftime in Manchester. It's Manchester City 0, Bournemouth 1. We'll be back in just a moment. 1-0 Bournemouth at halftime. They lead Manchester City, a potential surprise on offer on the opening day of the Premier League season. Opening weekend of the Premier League season. Seth Eaves back with you here. We can now unveil, we mentioned that we have Fulham and Chelsea coming to we can now unveil to you some of the newest matches that have just been freshly painted into the dock. Again, 3 different competitions at least this week. Tuesday from 2:45 Eastern Time will be at Portman Road as Ipswich hosts Leicester in the second round of the Carabao Cup. Wednesday at 3 Eastern, we're off to France, the second leg of the UEFA Champions League playoff between Lyon and Fenerbahce. Then back to the League Cup on Thursday, 3 Eastern, an all-capital clash, Fulham and Wimbledon. We'll get together from Craven Cottage in a week from today, 10:45 a.m. It's back to the Eredivisie. We're with Ajax again as they are away to Telstar. Plenty more live sport where that came from. Of course, later today we mentioned 2 Eastern. It's the NASCAR Cup Series Dollar Tree 301 from New Hampshire. Other non-soccer sporting events. Tomorrow night, 9:30 Eastern, the Major League Baseball pennant chase continues as the Chicago Cubs head west to face the Arizona Diamondbacks. I'm going to change things on the scenes here, but yes, Diamondbacks hosting the Cubs tomorrow night on Monday night. Yeah, it is tomorrow night from 9:30 Eastern. 9:30 is the start time for baseball Tuesday night. Jarek Rubel will grace your presence again as the Philadelphia Phillies have been making some real moves in the NL East here lately. They meet the Seattle Mariners. The W returns Thursday night. WNBA action as the Golden State Valkyries meet the New York Liberty. Then Friday night at 6:30 Eastern, the LA Dodgers and the Detroit Tigers from Motown. Then Saturday, as someone called the other football, Pigskin returns. Welcome back football weekend, fortnight, if you will, on USM begins next Saturday, a week from yesterday, 3:30 Eastern, a tasty matchup to start the college football season for the ACC as C.J. Bailey leads North Carolina State against last season's ACC runner-up, Virginia. Also next Saturday at 4 Eastern, ATP Tennis, the Winston-Salem Open Final, and then prime time at 7:30, NASCAR Saturday night, the Coke Zero Sugar 400 at Daytona final race before the chase. And then next Sunday, we'll have, in addition to the Eredivisie, we'll have Major League Baseball from 1:30 as the Boston Red Sox renew their rivalry with the New York Yankees. So, that gets you caught up on what all's happening on that end. A very other short break, and when we come back, we'll have the second half of City and Bournemouth. Second half about to begin between Manchester City and Bournemouth. Is it all going to unfold? It will be City going from right to left in their white-blue uniforms. Bournemouth going left to right in their black and red. They lead 1-0, the goal from Tavernier. Erling Haaland over the ball. And the second half is underway. So how will it all work out? Did he find a way to get a couple and win it, or will Bournemouth stay firm? Will they steal 3 points? And they do winners and losers of the weekend. Arsenal, I think, is going to be your answer to winners of the weekend in more ways than one. Diaz plays it to Lewis on the right-hand side. This is Rico Lewis now. That's if the score holds, of course. Tottenham dropping points. Villa dropping points. United dropping points. Yeah, I mean, that can't be a good omen for Chelsea against Fulham. Again, we'll have that one tomorrow. So, again, twice this week for Fulham if you're into that sort of thing. Here's Lewis. Chelsea, Fulham. Fulham, Chelsea will also, so again, Fulham, Chelsea, Ipswich, Leicester, Lyon, Fenerbahce, Fulham, Wimbledon, and Telstar Ajax on your docket for this weekend. For the upcoming week, I should say. Here's Gahey. Now back to Lewis. Here's a chip in. City had possession briefly. Click forward here. So now it's Gahey with it. Just 8 past 10 a.m. in the east of these United States. Just past 3 in the UK. Just past 4 in Germany. Seth Eaves with you for Ultimate Sports Media. That is not a misprint. That is the score. It's Bournemouth 1-0 up on Manchester City in the Premier League. A Marcus Tavernier goal the difference. As Marco Rose's Cherries lead Enzo Maresca's Blues. Anderson. Guardiola. Semenyo. Now here's Semenyo. Semenyo. Oh, clipped from behind by Hill. And that'll be a free kick for City in the attacking half. Here is Semenyo now to Guardiola. Now Trafford gives chase. Manchester City lost 2-1 to Aston Villa, their last Premier League home match back on the 24th of May. City have not lost consecutive Premier League home matches since May of 2021. We still did not have full capacity at stadiums. We weren't allowing fans back all the way yet. Give you an indicator on how long ago that was. Now here is Guardiola for City. Back to Semenyo. Diaz. Right-hand side now. City working there. Here is Lewis. Now, Anderson pushes forward. Long ball trying to play it towards Semenyo, but out of play it goes. As Foden course, Foden controversially was left out of Thomas Tuchel's England squad at the World Cup. Still managed to finish third without him, but if they had an attacking option, you do wonder if Tuchel maybe would have put him on as an extra attacking option, and maybe they could have been less tempted to sit back in that semi-final defeat against Argentina. Holland now over to Gahey. Back to Semenyo. And Semenyo pushed by Smith. City will have a corner, their 5th corner of the match. 5th corner of the match for Manchester City, and it will be taken by Foden. Lofting one in. Oh, a good header. Oh, coming to it, and then perhaps getting on it a little too much and getting the chest instead of the head was Gahey. Man, that was... Oh, Gahey is going to be wishing that he had that one back, I think. Now here is Semenyo for City. Semenyo trying to cut in. Semenyo to the left side. Actually, I thought I hit the chest again. He does glance his head upon another look, but he could not head it in. Semenyo lofts one in. And then behind, and it's going to be a corner. Good job by Silva. City really starting to ask a few more questions. Foden back to Anderson. Foden. Lofting one in, into the 6-yard box. Bournemouth are able to hack it away. City trying to pass it. Bournemouth have won it now, and here's Evan Nielsen in the attacking hand. Now Ryan. Holland now on the move. Now Semenyo. Semenyo now trying to cut right. Now goes back to the left side. And Semenyo commits the foul. Goal kick for City. Bournemouth. Trying to chase. Lewis with it. for City, and again, Bournemouth put away 10 minutes into the second half. Still it remains 1-0 in favor of the Cherries. So now here is Cook for Bournemouth. And now change, and City make the first change here. Race run for Rico Lewis, and on will come Matthias Nunez. So Nunez coming on here for Manchester City, 27-year-old from Rio de Janeiro, but represents Portugal at international level. Previously played for Estoril, Sporting Lisbon, and Wolves. 1 goal, 49 appearances in all competitions for City a season ago. Now here is Cook. Smith trying to give chase there. Now here is Guardiola throw in. Here's Gahey now back to Stones. But we told you Brighton up 4-0 against Villa. Villa also have had a man sent off in that game. Here's another chip into the box. Holland was the intended target. It also eluded Semenyo too, and another goal kick for Bournemouth. So he was 71% possession. Bournemouth trying to get a possession here. Free kick Bournemouth in the attacking half. Here is Hill as Bournemouth now playing back towards Petrovic. Playing it back to Petrovic. Now it's Cook back to Petrovic. Scott. Open here in the middle, and now collision with Anderson, and now Nunez getting involved in a little bit of a hustle away from the ball. So Anderson now getting back up. Now it's Nunez with it. City play it long. Can Semenyo get there? Not quite. City look like they're going to bring a couple of more three new faces coming on from Maresca's men here. This isn't an official hydration break, but the players are using it as such. And boy, this is going to be a sad way for Elliot Anderson's debut to end, because he is going to be unable to continue, and he's going to be helped off the pitch. Physio is walking with him, and so City will ring in the changes. Mateo Kovacic among those coming off, or coming on, I should say. Also, Ryan Cherokee replacing O'Reilly. Ryan Cherokee led the team in assists in the Premier League games last year. Had 12 assists in 33 appearances. Maiden season arriving from Olympique Lyonnais. Was in the Europa League Team of the Season in 24-25 when Lyon had a trip to the other half of Manchester they'd like to forget. City pushing forward. And of course, we mentioned Mateo Kovacic, a veteran. He's played some big clubs, hasn't he? He played at, first of all, representing Croatia international level, but was born in Austria. So the Lask Academy. He started at the biggest club in Croatia, Dinamo Zagreb. His other clubs he's played in after that, tried Inter Milan, Real Madrid, and Chelsea before going to Manchester City a few years back. And he's quinlingual, too. He speaks 5 languages. Yes, played it back. Hang on to possession. They got about 25 minutes plus stoppage time to go. Ryan now in the attacking half. Right hand side. Trying to pull away from Gvardiol. Ryan couldn't keep it in. Now Holland with it for City, left-hand side. Holland trying to improvise. Petrovic came for the cross, and he gets it. Well, not really a cross, a low ball. Now it's Ryan with it. Playing again out of the back. Tavernier, poor possession. Cherky. Here's Semenyo. Petrovic makes the save. And not the best clearance in the world. Kovacic now to Guardiola. Now here is Foden. See, working with it. Kushinov. Nunez with it. Now it's Ruben Diaz. Real has it. Right-hand side. City again push. Here is Cherky. Deflected and wide. It's actually Foden. I'm sorry. City with a corner. Here is Cherky to take it. Bumped it into the area. It's knocked away. Now it's Kluivert. So now here is Diaz with it for City. Again, trying to continue the string together passes. They've got to do a little bit better than that. Yes. Turkey. Kushinov plays it. Now Foden, right hand side. Take it on defenders. And they're being in product form. City had the Premier League high average possession percentage of 61%. Again, they come up with a stat for anything. Good layoff. Foden, can he keep it in? No. Or actually, he kept it in, but it was Silva who sliced it away. Now here is City with Foden. Shanov. .150 passes in the final third to 41. 27 touches in the opposition box to 4 in favor of City, but where it counts, 1-0 to the Cherries. Now City running forward again. Foden with room. Foden trying to lay out the pass for Nunez. Cherky. And Holland couldn't hit the target. My goodness. Holland coming off 7-goal showing at the World Cup, and now it's like a trio of changes for Bournemouth, including the American Tyler Adams. Also, we're getting Alex Toff, a Hungarian, and a Canadian Daniel Jebison. We'll try and get a little of feelings there. Now here is Kovacic. Cherky pushed from behind. The 4th minute. Is it going to be time for Bournemouth to make those changes? Not yet. They aren't going to make them as of yet. Cherky. City with it in the attacking half again. Now it's Kovacic. Ryan Sile, good ball. Semenyo onto it. Lifted in. Here's Holland. Scuff shot. Fumbled briefly by Petrovic, but he was able to secure it. And Holland just does not have his shooting boots on today. Changes coming in here for Bournemouth. They'll make a lot of them. Kluivert's done. He's going to be replaced by Alex Toth, the Hungarian international. Evan Nielsen's off. And Jebison, Daniel Jebison, the Canadian forward, will make way. And Adams replaces Cook. And 15 minutes to go in this one, plus stoppage time. Alex Toth, 20-year-old from Budapest, who signed for Bournemouth in January after 38 appearances at the Hungarian club Ferencváros. In an interview with the magazine, Toth's father said of his son, quote, "We brought him home from school at 4 o'clock, but he would kick the wall in his room until 7 in the evening. He'd constantly watch videos of his favorite football players and then practice the tricks he saw in them. Sometimes we would tell him at 11 in the evening because he was still playing. That was his whole evening." Nine appearances for Bournemouth last season, did Toth. Jebison from Oakville, Ontario, Canada. His previous clubs, Sheffield United, Chorley, Burton Albion, Watford, and Preston. Won the Under-19 European Championship of England back in 2022. 6 goals and 40 appearances on loan for Preston North End last season. And then, of course, Tyler Adams from Wappingers Falls, New York, a New York Red Bulls youth product. So he's played for Leipzig, Leeds, and Bournemouth. He also owns the USL League 2 team, the Hudson Valley Hammers, and he also in January 12 joined the ownership group of Westchester FC, which was a League One expansion club near his hometown. Adams won the Goal of the Month award back in November, and here's a yellow card for that goal against Sunderland. He became the first American to win that award, but he suffered a torn MCL back in December at Old Trafford. Did return, though, in February and led Bournemouth to that solid finish. Each team can make 2 more subs. About to go into the 79th minute. And still, it is Manchester City 0, Bournemouth 1, and now Bournemouth with a free kick. Here's the chance, and the header! Oh, and Jebison nearly had a second. Good reflex save by Donnarumma. Scott with the corner kick for Bournemouth. Cross, here's the corner, and City have to head it backwards. Be another corner for Bournemouth. Here comes the corner. And now, Donnarumma and Adams are having some words. Referee telling Adams just to mind his P's and Q's. And, oh boy, Donnarumma. Oh, now Donnarumma with another push. Well, he is pushing people away. They get the corner. Bournemouth get the corner away, and City deal with it. Now Bournemouth have it in the 81st, about to be the 82nd minute. But still 1-0 to the good. Now City coming on, and now here comes Jack Grealish, who of course spent last season on loan at Everton. And Grealish now, will he be a part of Maresca's plans full time? Who knows? But he's in there today, and he replaces Phil Foden. Grealish, of course, caught the eye of some when he was seen in the crowd at the Cardiff-Wrexham game we had for you on Monday. Could he be going to one of those two on loan? That remains to be seen. 3-year-old from Birmingham. Grealish is a fan of Elvis Presley and Queen. He's an amateur disc jockey. He once said that if he had not become a footballer, he would have been a club promoter in Ibiza or Tenerife. That's a very Jack Grealish quote, is it not? Here comes Holland. Holland trying to muscle his way through. Now gets back towards Gahey. Gahey lost out. Now here comes Bournemouth. Grealish with the ball here for City. Grealish in the attacking half. Manchester City, next game in 5 days, away at Crystal Palace. I'll see in and behind for a corner. Away to Palace. First August and September, the first 5, if you will. Bournemouth today, then Palace, then home for Coventry, then the first Manchester derby of the season. That'll be at Old Trafford, September 13th, and then the 19th match with Sunderland. Other notable games in the early part of the season. They go to Liverpool, will be commencing October the 11th. Their first game with Arsenal will be at the Emirates November 28th. Gahey! Head City and equal. Off the corner kick, Mark Gahey saves Manchester City. And they've got a little more than 5 minutes plus stoppage to find a winner. Well now, this delivery, and then Gahey jumps up and that's just a classic header from classic headed goal off a corner right there. Now here is Ruben Diaz. Semenyo for City. Grealish. Diaz. Antonio Silva got a yellow card, by the way. Now Ryan. Bournemouth coming forward. Adams to Smith. Jefferson. Toth. Dispossessed. Semenyo. City now trying to go for this. 87th minute. Bournemouth back in possession with it. Now Jefferson trying to chase a loose ball. Diaz gets it away. Now Bournemouth set to make another change. It's going to be Ben Gannon-Doak, who, of course, appeared for Scotland at the World Cup. More on who he comes in for a little bit later in just a moment. The substitution's officially made. Adams. So now it's Hill. And it's Rayan who comes off. So penultimate change for Bournemouth is Ben Gannon-Doak. 20-year-old who previously has played for Celtic, Liverpool, and Middlesbrough. Signed for Bournemouth last summer. Collecting both his parents' name, both his parents. That's why he went with Gannon-Doak at the back. It's originally just known as Doak. And he's involved here with cross cut by Donnarumma. Mentioned City's games. Bournemouth, they are home to Everton next week. Then they're away to Newcastle. Then home for Brentford and Liverpool before the 2-week international break. Boy, they come after that break, guns a-blazing, don't they? October 10th at Chelsea. A couple weeks later, they go to Man United. Go to Arsenal in December. Reverse fixture will be the weekend commencing of April 10th, and that game could be huge. Both those teams could need that game for different reasons. Just never know. About to hit stoppage time here. Kushanov now playing it forward. hit the 90. How much stoppage time will we see here? As Grealish plays it in now, back plays it to Kovacic. It's going to be just 3 minutes. Just 3 minutes for City to find a winner. Here is Semenyo. Now throwing it through. Here's a chance, and there. No, it's not a winner. Offside. Guardiola offside. Well, that would have been back-to-back days on this channel where we had unlikely match winners. Carlos Espy for Real Madrid yesterday. It would have been Josko Gvardiol, but he is offside, and that is the right decision. Now, the referee is checking here. He might take another look at this. VAR is having a check to make sure if the goal is going to stand. I thought he was clearly off. There's another angle, though. I would love to see it. He's given the goal! My goodness me! Just called Gvardiol! And him pegged as a match winner! Who had him pegged as a match winner indeed? And that's an absolute gut punch for Bournemouth. City have surely now stolen these 3 points. What a finish. It's a cool finish. And it looks like, yeah, well, according to that, he is very much on side with the last man, James Hill. Wow. And Maresca's reaction is justifiably one of exaltation. Now Bournemouth pushing forward again. Here comes Hoff. Maresca now is the water. Game not over yet. Now here comes Grealish. Grealish for City. He'll just keep it in the corner flag, you would imagine. Chip here. Guardiola has it. Now Grealish. Weaved back. Now here's Holland. Cherky. Cherky. Again, we were promised 3 minutes. We've now played 5. And the referee now does blow for full time, and it is a winning debut for Maresca. Boy, did his team have to work for it, though. Marcus Tavernier gave Bournemouth a 26-minute lead, but City get 2 in the last 6 minutes to get the 3 points. The first came from and the 2 goal scorers, not exactly ones you would have pegged as match-winning heroes. Mark Gahey leapt highest on a header off a corner in the 84th minute, and then in stoppage time, Joshua Guardiola's goal originally ruled out for offside. But upon further review, he did find that he was onside, and it's Manchester City who get the 3 points. They have come from behind. They have won on the opening day of the brand new season. Full time at the Etihad. Manchester City 2, Bournemouth 1. For special thanks to Matthew Owens and JT for all their work. For everyone at YouTube, I am Seth Eaves. We will see you later today for NASCAR coverage. So long, City. Steal the points late.